Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Um, Depending on your time, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Um, and welcome to the program. Um, Welcome to your program. Let me up this fan just a little bit. Um, yeah, okay, we're good. And welcome to the program, Marriage and the Family. Marriage and the Family. Last week, not last week, on Tuesday we spoke about, we talked about, if we started talking before Tuesday, uh, the termites of marriage. And I closed in on last Thursday about the division of children. We talk about the division over children, and I said it was a termite and a dangerous one at that. I mean, termites are dangerous anyway, but yeah, division over children is a serious matter. And I said, look, don't um, never never you know argue in front of children. Don't do that. Don't argue in front of children, and don't dismiss the decision of the other partner. Maybe if she says something to the children or he says something to the children, don't come and say no. You already let the children do it, let them not do it. Like I said, the children are very smart. They're very smart. They know how to play their cards. They know how to engage what sometimes we call the divide and rule mindset. They know how to get in between. So you got to do everything not to ever, number one, argue before them, and number two, this, rubbish the decision of the other person. Okay. If you didn't agree with it, yeah, like I said last week, if you don't agree with it, yeah, y'all go sit somewhere and go in the room and during bedtime and y'all can discuss it. But never ever disagree, never, rubbish the decision of the other person. So I said last week, division over children is a termite. Okay, it's a termite. This division of our children is a termite, and then I said that. So you got to be careful. Don't let the children, division over the children. Now it doesn't necessarily, maybe somebody will say, well, maybe if the woman's child from outside or the man's child from outside. No, it doesn't want to tie down into that. It can also be children from among yourselves. It can be your 2, 3, 4 biological children. There's a way of having division over the children. There's a way of one person thinking that the other person loved the other person like the other. And the story we read about Jacob and Esau. Jacob and Esau, they were from the same womb. They were from the same womb. They were the same mother, same father children. But there was a division. The Bible says Jacob loved Esau because Esau was hunting, he could eat the food. But also Rebecca loved Jacob. So you see, and that smelled a termite, and that was dangerous. And you saw what happened between Esau and Jacob, and all of that. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the children got to be maybe outside, from the man had a child outside, the woman had no. It can be, the both of them children. That's how you got to be mindful, because division over children is a termite. It's a termite. It's a very, very termite. And like I said, termites are very dangerous. They are very dangerous. We consider them insignificant, but very dangerous. We don't talk about them many times, but they're very dangerous. And they are dangerous more than even the fire that got us, that set ablaze the homes. The termites are very dangerous. So termites in marriage must be taken care of, must be careful. So today, like I promised last week, we started on Tuesday on the second termite I wanted to talk about, which is money problems. We introduced that last week before we left. Money problem. Money problem is a very, very serious issue. Very serious money problem. And I said many of the disagreements many of the disagreements in homes are related to finances. Many, if not all, many of the disagreements in homes are related to finances. And every husband and wife should covenant. You should make an agreement. Should covenant with one another, that they will not argue about money. They will not argue about money. Money, no, they will not argue about money. Because you see, money problems, it's one of the things that destroy marriages. It's a termite. It's a termite. Now, and like I promised to you last week, I want to share with you some guidelines that will help you to deal with the potential termite, which is the problem of money. The problem of money is a potential termite. Money, the problems of money is an issue. Money is a very critical. It's an issue. The problem of money. And so I want to share with you, some guidelines. Some guidelines that will aid you in your dealing with this potential termite called money issue. Money issue. It's a very serious, very, very serious issue. I don't know how many people see it serious, but it's a very serious issue. The issue of money is very, very serious. Very serious. Very serious. Now, it is not. Now, it is hard. It's very difficult, to believe that a piece of paper, right? Of course, piece of paper with value, that a piece of paper could such a great problem. But of course, that piece of paper has value, though. It certainly do. It has value. It has value. It has value. So it can. But there are termites. And of course, termites. All termites want to do is to destroy. That's all termites want to do. Termites will come and, like I said, I grew up in a typical African village where we, the hut we built, the walls of the hut were mat, and those things we eat under that stuff. And you think that it's still there. But after a long while, when you go make mistake, you take that thing, it just fall down. They fall. Termites, they don't do it all of a sudden. They don't do it, it doesn't come, all of a sudden. They do it subtly, little by little. That's why people don't take them serious. They're very dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous. They are very dangerous. Now, in dealing with the money problem is, the first thing I want to say is, do not go heavily into debt. 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 Now, notice I said heavily. I didn't say into debt because, there are times that, the society we're in, the world we're in now, it requires that sometimes you might take some low credit, but I said heavily. Heavily. Do not go heavily into debt. Do not go heavily. Now, some will tell you, not to get into debt at all. Some will tell you not to get into debt. But listen, it's sometimes, I know it's possible not to get into debt at all, but depending on the situation, like I said, the society we find ourselves in, yes, you might be able to, just take a low credit here, but not heavily. Do not get heavily into debt. Now, in the ideal world, that is great. In the ideal world, that is great to get into debt. In real life, there will always be some kind of debt. We know that. There will always be some kind of debt in real life. In real life, there will always be some kind of debt. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you will always go into some kind of debt. There will always be some kind of debt. There will always be some kind of debt. Now, and for instance, let's talk about credit cards. Okay, let's talk about credit cards. Extra things you don't need to survive. There's some people who use credit cards, and wow, it will surprise you how people use credit cards. They just swipe, and some of the things they don't really need it. They don't really need it. Like you hear somebody say, "Well, when I'm stressful, I just need to shopping." I'm stressed. Right? So you're stressful, you go shopping. The solution to your stress is to go shopping. And of course, if you're stressful, you don't need to shopping to ease the stress. It means that you're gonna swipe the card for stuff that you don't need. You're gonna swipe the stuff for stuff that you don't need. It's things that you don't really need. In the book of Romans, Romans chapter 13, verse 8b. Romans chapter 13, verse 8b. It said, "Owe no man nothing, owe no man anything, owe no man anything, but to love one another." Owe no man nothing. In other words, the Bible says, sorry, the Bible says, owe no man nothing. Do not owe any man anything. The Bible says the only thing you should owe people is love. It's love. It's love. But you know, and realistically speaking, this money issue can really be a termite. This money issue can really, it's a real, can be a real termite that can be a major problem. It can be a termite that can be a major problems. And you know what? There are many couples who charge themselves into financial bondage. Charge themselves into financial bondage. Many say, and may I say, you know, it is true. I mean, it's truly a bondage, though. It is a bondage. It's truly a bondage. It's truly a bondage. And sometimes the husband, because of that, the husband will need to get a second job. The husband need to get a second job. And maybe I might even add that the wife will also need to get a second job because they are in a bondage. They are in a heavy financial debt. Heavy financial debt. And this leads into no time for the family or the wife. So if you are heavily in debt, then the husband has to do 2 jobs, the wife has to do 2 jobs. What the time you have, there's no time to meet, there's no time to sit, there's no time for family. There's no time. There's no time for family, there's no time to meet, no time for the children. No time at all. And there's no time. It's a serious trouble. It is a serious, and now you find yourself in serious problem. Very serious problem. Because now you're in a financial, bondage, what I would call bondage, because you want to meet up. You want to meet up with the debt. So the husband take 2 jobs, the wife take 2 jobs. And by the time you come, you're tired. You have less time to sleep. Both of you are tired. When do you have to make up for the family? When do you have to make up for the family? And that's trouble. The wife who has to go to work also. Then we find God's gift to us raising themselves. The children. So because of that now, the mother is 2 jobs, the husband is doing 2 jobs, and no time for the children. So now the children are kind of raising themselves. The children are kind of raising themselves because nobody to help them. The mother and father, they're all busy. They're all busy because they will say, oh, we're doing this for the children, we're doing this for the family. But hey, come on. You're killing the same family for what you do, for whom you think you are doing it for. So avoid getting into heavy debt. Avoid, there are things you don't really need to survive. You don't need to survive. If you got extra cash, fine. But you have to get into debt to get it, I would say no. I would say no. If you have to get into debt to get it, then don't. Because it will destroy it. Eventually it comes to the place where it destroys the family, it destroys the marriage. It destroys the marriage. It destroys the marriage. Because now you got the children raising themselves. And being at home alone, no supervision at all. The children there by themselves now. Mom come in, but she's 10, she change her clothes, she go on a second job. Daddy comes in, he changes clothes. Sometimes they don't even come in at all. From one, they go to the other. And then the children are now left by themselves to raise themselves and to bring themselves up. To raise themselves, being home alone. Defending for themselves, the children. Now, you see, the infant children taken to daycare. You see that? I mean, if the child is small, the kids are small, then they take them to daycare. For some stranger to raise the children. You see the problem? You see the money problem? You see that? So they don't have time. So if the children are older, maybe of 12 above, 13, 14, they stay home now, but they're raising themselves. But they are if they are children, they are little babies, then they got to take them to daycare. Now what is happening? Somebody else will now begin to raise the children for you. For you. See the money problem? Money problem. Money problem. And then many people wonder why, then wonder why our children go to the devil. Why? Sometimes you don't understand why all of a sudden the child developing, oh, my child, and developing some attitude and some traits that you know it is not part of the family. Because you are not careful. This issue of money, money problem. It's a termite. It is a termite. It is a termite. But then you know what? The bottom line is just simple as this. The bottom line is this. Now you will get to the point where you will seldom each other. Yeah, you get to the point where you seldom each other. Where you seldom each other. Then the termite now moves in to do the killing. The termites then move in for the kill. Now, notice now, you inherit debt. So the both of you basically now taking both jobs. But notice you don't have time together. You don't talk. You don't communicate. Nothing happening. Then the termites move in. The termites move in to kill. Now, this is always lead to a problem into marriage. It always leads to a problem in a marriage. You got to be careful. The money issue. The money issue. And there are some men who, who the wife never know how much they make. The wife never know how much they make. They get into the deal. They get in a deal. The wife say, okay, look, you handle this, I will handle this. They make a deal. They agree on that. And I know most families will do that. Most families will do that. In fact, that's why they are two, the husband and wife, because the wife comes along to assist, to help the husband. In modern times now, most wives, there's nothing like most time in the advanced world, the wife now comes in to help the husband financially. So the wife was and the husband will agree. Say, okay, you take care of this, I'll take care of this. But then along the line, somebody there doesn't know how, they're just using their own money. What they're supposed to take care of, not taking care of it, and before you go low, it becomes a problem. Again, into a financial problem. It becomes another financial issue. And another financial issue. You see, because that's also the problem of money. It's a termite. The money is a problem. It's a problem. Now, not careful of this, where the wandering begins. This is always leading to a problem in a marriage, because now you don't have time for one another. You come, you had to see one another, because when one person coming, other one going. One person coming. When the time that both of you will meet, then you're all tired. You can't meet the other person in bed. Oh, hey, in the morning, brush your teeth, you're gone. It's not healthy at all for the marriage. It's not healthy. It is not healthy for the marriage. And if you're not careful, this is where the wandering, begins. It is much wiser to buy on cash basis. I know some people, in the Western world will say, well, no, but it's advisable to buy on a cash basis. I know there are places where, they entice you to come and credit. But hey, you don't need to credit if you don't have to. You can save up and buy. There's some things that you can buy with cash, on cash basis. But I know many people will do things because they see other people doing it. Many people do things because they see other people doing it. And many people get into problems because they don't even know what they want. Somebody get a new car and you say, okay, I think we need to upgrade. You don't even know where the person passed to get a new car, but you want to compete with them. You say you need to upgrade. That's what a financial problem. So you got to learn to buy with cash. It's not everything you got to credit. Sometimes you got to buy on a cash basis. On a cash basis. On a cash basis. Now, let us go to a safer place. Let's go to a safer place for the answer. A safer place for the answer. Now, in Proverbs 22 verse 7, right? In Proverbs 22 verse 7. In Proverbs 22 verse 7, the Bible says, the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the servant is a borrower, is a servant to the lender. Now, notice Notice there's emphasis there. The emphasis on the voice, on the verse there. You know why? Because because God said it. God said it. God said it. God said that the rich ruleth over the poor. That's the word of God. That's the Bible said it. And the borrower is a servant to the lender. God said it. God said it. So, look, don't get into heavy debt. Talking about the money problem, being a termite in marriage. Don't get into heavy debt. Buy on cash if it's possible. Save up, discipline yourself. Save up and buy on cash. Buy on cash. Don't be like some people, I'm stressed. When I'm stressed, I let you shopping. So, of course, when you're stressful, when you stress to go shopping, you will just buy anything. But buy on cash if possible. Now, the second point I want to make on the money problem is you must learn to plan your finances. Plan your finances. And you know the wise thing to do? The wise thing to do is to have a budget. The wisest thing to do is to have a budget. A budget. And in planning your budget, follow certain guidelines. You must follow guidelines. Follow guidelines. And I will suggest few guidelines that you need to follow. Follow guidelines. And in planning your budget, you must make boundaries. Make boundaries. Make boundaries and stay within the boundaries. I don't care what happened. That's why I talk about discipline. You must make boundaries and stay within the boundaries. I don't care what comes about. Stay within the boundaries. That's the first thing in formulating a budget. Make boundaries. And don't go outside the boundaries. Stay within the boundaries. Stay within the boundaries. The second point is, in planning your budget, one thing you do is to pay your bills first. If you got bills to pay, hey, take care of that first. Take care of the bill first. If the wife agreed to help with some of the bills, when the month ends, I'm sure she should be able to pull forward that which she agreed to contribute. And then it becomes the responsibility of the man. Be responsible enough to pay your bills first. Pay your bills first. And let me add, that is after your tithe. After giving to God first. Then you pay your bills. After giving, I don't know whether you call it tithe or you call it offering, whatever. But when you give it to God first, then you pay your bills. Because I don't want you to rob God. I don't want you to rob God. Many people argue about tithing and all that stuff. I don't go into that argument. But one thing I know is that it's good to give to God. You must give to God. And if necessary, sell things. But pay your bills. Pay your bills. Pay your bills. And point number three, in the money issue. And now remember now, I said to you, don't get into heavy debt. Don't get into heavy debt. Don't. So after paying your bills, the next thing is your outgo cannot exceed your income. Because listen, sometimes of course, our expenditure exceeds our income. Many times. And I know sometimes it's because of the lack of planning. The lack of planning. Many times, you see what you didn't budget for, you buy. And so sometimes you realize that your expenditure or your outgo exceeds your income. It exceeds your income. It exceeds your income. But your outgo cannot and should not exceed your income. The economists call a law, they call this a law of diminishing returns. That's what the economists call it, the law of diminishing returns. You know, you cannot spend more than you make. Is it a need or a want? Because you see, as far as it comes to spending, you got to decide whether we need this thing or we want it. You got to decide whether it's a need or a want. How long will it take to pay this off? How long? So you need to do all that calculation. How many hours will I work to pay this? You do all that calculation. So your outcome, your outgo cannot, exceed your income. When that happens, then you are in trouble. Then you are in trouble. The next point is you must practice systematic giving. Practice systematic giving. In other words, give. Your giving should be in order. It's good to give, but you got to give with wisdom. You got to plan to give. You can't go out today and then spend $300 that was never part of the budget. It's good to give. Of course, the spiritual people will say, well, it's about led by the Spirit. This is about led by the Spirit. Well, for the purpose of this of our conversation, I'm saying your giving should be systematic. Practice systematic giving. But let's go to the Bible. Let's go back to the Bible for the answer. And of course, I love the Bible. In Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. In Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10, it said, "Will a man rob God? Yet you rob me. Yet you rob me. You are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me, even in this whole nation. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall be no room enough to receive it." Now, God promises two things here, right? Two things are promised here. The first thing is, there is a curse to them that do not pay up to God. And the Bible says you are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me. Now, a promise from God, a promise from God. Now, the first, there is a curse, and B, the second point, there is a promise from God. And a challenge, if you like to call, if you want to call it that way, a challenge. Okay? If you want to call it that way. Now, verse 10 promises a prosperity to the tither. God first, always, as a rule. God first, always. So like I said, whether you call it tithe or whatever you call it, but God first, always in your giving. God first. Whether it's a tithe, whether it's a giving, what you call it, or free love giving, or what kind of giving do it, God make God first in your giving. That's the point I wanted to make. Make God first in your giving. And maybe I will close in on this one. We'll continue next week. I will close in on this one. And I want to say the next point is purchase on the basis of cash only. Purchase on the basis of cash. Now, I know there are some things that, obviously, if you have the will, that you cannot, purchase on cash. But there's something you can probably, some people go and buy, groceries on credit card. And come on. There are some things you can purchase on cash. Do as much as you can, help as much as you can to purchase on cash. Because I tell you, and I told you before, that the money problem is a termite. It's a termite. And we don't handle it it brings a lot of issues. You get too much heavy into debt, and you get so busy that you don't have time for the marriage. You don't have time for the children. The children, if they are older enough, they're raising themselves. If they are babies, somebody is raising them in a daycare. That is the termite. We got to be careful how we deal with money. The money problem. Set budgets. Spend wisely. Don't just spend. Oh yeah, some people they are fortunate. They make some little good money. But just because you make a little bit good bit of money doesn't mean that you just spend it anywhere anyhow. No, you got to use it wisely. So purchase on the basis of cash only if it is possible. And I know it's possible. Or discipline yourself in that. So then, even if you credit, you're not credit heavily. No, it's not going to be heavy credit. You that know me, you that that use that credit is not it's credit card is not everything. You don't use your credit card for everything. No, don't use your credit card. If it gets to the place where you cannot pay it off every month, then the spending or the using of it will cease. Do not waste your money on unnecessary things. I will close here for the second termite, which is the problem of money. But we'll continue with the money issue. We'll continue next week on next week Tuesday. On Tuesday we'll continue on that. But we'll be looking into the in-laws problem. You know the in-laws, right? The in-laws issue. The in-laws problem. But I want to end here, and I want to say thank you for listening, and thank you for taking up your time, and I want to bless God for those who are watching, and please share the broadcast, share so that others can benefit, others can also be blessed by it. But I want to say thank you so much for taking your time to listen, and I pray that I spoke something that meant that meant something to you. And just share it. Again, like I said, please share the broadcast so that others can benefit, others can be blessed. Until again, have a nice and a good weekend. Until I see you again on Tuesday, God's willing, have a good and a wonderful day. God bless you so much. Bye-bye.